Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The forbidden warship that defied every rule, and won every battle. The large meeting hall fell silent as the 7 council members entered. Each alien looked different from the others, some tall with multiple limbs, others short with scales or fur. They sat at the high table looking down at the human delegation. Captain James Miller stood straight in his formal blue uniform. This was a big day for Earth. After 50 years of knowing about aliens, humans were finally joining the Galactic Council. The Council recognizes Earth, said the head council member, a tall being with blue skin named Trell. We welcome humans to our community of species. Miller nodded, thank you, Earth is honored to join. Trell looked at some notes, however, we must address a serious matter. Our studies show humans are prone to violence. Your history is filled with wars. Miller started to object, but the alien raised a hand. This is not a judgment, merely a fact. All new species must be classified for safety. Humans are classified as a violence-prone species with level 3 restrictions. Another council member, a small green being, pushed forward a document. These restrictions mean humans may build and operate civilian vessels only, no warships of any kind for the next 100 years. Miller's face showed his surprise, no warships. What about defense? The Council provides defense for all member worlds, Trell said. This is standard for new members with your classification. Later, back on Earth, Miller sat in a large office with General Banks, his superior. This is ridiculous, Banks said, his face red with anger, no warships for a century. What if we need to defend ourselves? Miller sighed, the Council was clear, we accept their rules or we don't join, and not joining means no access to faster-than-light travel, no trade with other worlds, and no protection. Banks looked out the window at the night sky. At least they're letting us continue with the Horizon project. The Horizon was Earth's first major deep space vessel. Originally designed as a military ship, it would now be converted to a civilian mining and exploration vessel. Yes, Miller said, and they want me to captain it. Banks turned, surprised, you. But you're a military strategist, not an explorer. Miller shrugged, I think that's why they chose me, they want someone who understands both worlds. 3 months later, Miller walked through the Horizon's corridors. The ship was huge, nearly a mile long and shaped like an arrow. It was being built in Earth's orbit, with thousands of workers finishing its systems. Miller entered the engineering section and found Tom Reed, the chief engineer. Reed was a short man with messy hair and a constant smile, he was looking at plans on a large screen. How's it going, Tom? Miller asked. Reed jumped slightly, then relaxed, Captain, just making some final adjustments. Miller looked at the plans, they showed extra power couplings running to the mining lasers. What's this? These weren't in the original design. Reed's smile grew wider, just some efficiency improvements. The mining lasers need more power to cut through harder asteroids, he paused, of course, with these modifications they could also cut through ship hulls if needed. Miller raised an eyebrow, Tom, you know we can't have weapons, the Council will inspect everything. These aren't weapons, Captain Reed said innocently, they're mining tools. Not my fault if they happen to be useful for other things in an emergency. Miller should have reported this, but instead he found himself nodding slowly. What else have you improved? Over the next hour, Reed showed Miller several modifications that skirted Council regulations. The cargo grapples were now strong enough to hold a small ship, the sensors meant for finding minerals could detect ship weak points, the shields designed for protection against asteroids were stronger than needed. None of these are weapons, Reed explained, they're all legitimate systems for a mining vessel, just better than they need to be. Miller was impressed, keep this quiet, if the Council finds out, they won't. Reed promised everything looks normal on paper. A week before launch, Inspector Dax arrived. He was a tall, thin alien with gray skin and 4 eyes, his species was known for their attention to detail. "Captain Miller," Dax said formally, "I am here to ensure your vessel complies with Council regulations." Miller nodded, "Of course, we're happy to show you everything." For 3 days, Dax inspected every part of the horizon. He checked systems, reviewed plans, and questioned crew members. Miller grew more nervous with each passing hour. On the final day, Dax entered the engineering section while Reed was working on the mining lasers. "These power readings seem high for mining equipment," Dax noted, checking his device. Reed didn't look up. "Earth minerals are harder than most, we need the extra power." Dax stared at Reed for a long moment. "I see. And these grapples, they appear stronger than necessary." "Safety precaution," Reed said quickly, "better too strong than too weak when handling heavy asteroids." Dax made notes on his device. Miller held his breath, waiting for the inspector to demand a closer look or call for backup. Instead, Dax simply nodded, logical, though unusual. At the end of the inspection, Dax met with Miller in the captain's office. "Your ship passes inspection, Captain," Dax said, "though I must note several unusual design choices." Miller tried to look casual. "The Horizon is a peaceful vessel." Dax's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Indeed. Remember, Captain, this vessel is authorized for mining and exploration only. Any use in conflict would violate your species restrictions." "Of course," Miller said. After Dax left, Miller sat back in his chair and let out a long breath. They had passed the inspection in 2 days. The Horizon would launch with its 200 crew members on a 2-year mission to explore and mine the frontier regions. What the Council didn't know wouldn't hurt them, and if trouble ever found the Horizon out in deep space, well, they'd be ready. As Miller looked out his viewport at the stars, he couldn't help but smile. Humans weren't allowed to build warships, but nobody said they couldn't build a mining vessel capable of defending itself. The real test would come when they reached the frontier. 6 months into their mission, the Horizon had settled into a comfortable routine. The huge ship moved from asteroid field to asteroid field, mining valuable metals and minerals. Captain Miller had almost forgotten about the special features Engineer Reed had built into the ship. Miller sat in his command chair on the bridge, looking at reports. The crew had mined enough rare metals to make their mission profitable already. Earth would be pleased. "Captain," called Lisa, the communications officer, "I'm picking up something strange." Miller looked up. "What is it?" "A distress signal, sir. From New Haven Colony." New Haven was a small human settlement on a planet near the edge of Council space. About 5,000 people lived there, farming and mining. "Put it on speaker," Miller ordered. A scratchy voice filled the bridge. "This is New Haven Colony calling any ships, we are under attack. Unknown vessels in orbit are landing troops. Please help, the Council fleet is too far away. Anyone, please." The message cut off. The bridge was silent. "How far are we from New Haven?" Miller asked. 2 days at top speed, sir," replied Mark, the navigator. Miller thought about his orders. They were supposed to avoid any conflict zones. The Council had been clear that human ships were not to engage in combat situations. The proper course would be to report the distress call and continue their mission. But 5,000 people were in danger. "Set course for New Haven at maximum speed," Miller ordered. Mark nodded, "Already entering the coordinates, sir." Said Lisa, "Should I inform Earth about our course change?" Miller hesitated. "Send a message but use the delay protocol, it will take 3 days to reach Earth. By then, we'll already be at New Haven." "Yes, sir." As the Horizon changed direction, Miller called Reed to his office. "Tom, remember those special modifications you made to our ship?" Miller asked when the engineer arrived. Reed grinned. "The ones we never talk about?" "Sure. How quickly can you get them ready for use?" Reed's smile disappeared. "You're serious? What's happening?" Miller explained about New Haven. "We might be heading into a fight." Reed nodded slowly. 2 days should be enough time. But Captain, if we use these systems in combat, the Council will know we broke their rules. I know, Miller said, but I won't leave those colonists to die. Get everything ready, but quietly. Don't tell the crew what's happening yet. For 2 days, Reed and his trusted engineers worked around the clock preparing the Horizon's hidden capabilities. The mining lasers were recalibrated, the shields were strengthened, the sensors were adjusted to track ships instead of asteroids. As they approached New Haven, Miller called the senior crew together. We're responding to a distress call, he told them. There may be danger ahead. I need to know you're all with me. What kind of danger? Asked Dr. Bell, the chief medical officer. We're not a military vessel. Unknown ships are attacking the colony, Miller said, and you're right, we're not military. But those colonists have families too. The crew looked at each other nervously. We have some advantages they don't know about, Miller added, but I won't force anyone to risk their lives. If you want to stay out of this, I understand. There was a moment of silence, then Mark the navigator spoke up. My brother lives on New Haven with his family. I'm in. One by one, the others nodded their agreement. Good, Miller said. Now let me explain what Engineer Reed has been working on. The Horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel near New Haven. The view screen showed the green and blue planet below and 3 dark ships in orbit. Scan those vessels, Miller ordered. Lisa worked her console. They're not in the Council database, sir. Unknown design. The Scourge, said Pete, an older crew member. I've heard stories. They attack frontier worlds, take what they want, and leave nothing behind. Miller frowned. The Council knows about these attacks. Rumors only, Pete said. The Scourge stay away from well-defended worlds. The Council doesn't consider them a major threat. Well, they're a threat to New Haven, Miller said. He turned to Reed. Status of our systems. Mining lasers ready for alternative use, Reed reported with a small smile. Shields at full power, cargo grapples standing by. Good. Lisa, any response from the colony? Yes, sir, they say the Scourge have landed troops near the main settlement. They're holding out in the colony center but won't last long. Miller took a deep breath. This is it. Once we engage, there's no going back. The Council will know humans broke their rules. Take us into orbit, he ordered. Position us between those ships and the colony. The Horizon moved forward slowly, its huge bulk dwarfing the Scourge vessels, which were about a quarter of its size. Sir, they're hailing us, Lisa reported. Put them through, Miller ordered. The view screen changed to show an alien face, gray skin covered in small spikes and yellow eyes. Human vessel, the alien said in rough translation, leave now. This is not your concern. Miller stood up straight. I'm Captain James Miller of the Earth ship Horizon. You're attacking a human colony, that makes it my concern. The alien made a harsh sound that might have been laughter. You have no weapons. Human. The Council does not allow it. Leave now or be destroyed. Miller smiled. You might be surprised what a mining vessel can do. This is your only warning, leave New Haven in peace, or face the consequences. The alien cut the transmission. They're powering weapons, Lisa reported. All crew to battle stations, Miller ordered. Let's show them what humans can do, even without warships. The smallest Scourge ship fired first. A beam of energy shot toward the Horizon. Shields holding, Reed called out. Their weapons aren't as strong as I expected. Target their weapon systems with the mining lasers, Miller ordered. Reed adjusted his controls, firing now. The powerful lasers designed to cut through solid asteroid rock sliced into the Scourge ship's hull like it was paper. Direct hit, Reed shouted, surprised by his own success. The other 2 Scourge ships began to move, turning to face the Horizon. They didn't expect resistance, Miller said. Use the grapples on the damaged ship, pull it out of the fight. The massive cargo grapples, designed to hold asteroids weighing thousands of tons, shot out and latched onto the wounded Scourge vessel. With a powerful tug, the Horizon pulled it away from its companions. The battle had begun, and the supposedly defenseless human mining ship was winning. The bridge of the Horizon shook as another blast from the Scourge ships hit their shields. Captain Miller held on to his chair to stay upright. Shield status? He called out. Reed checked his screen, holding at 60%. Captain, these mining shields weren't really made for this kind of fight. The Horizon had managed to disable one Scourge ship with its mining lasers and grapples, but the other two were proving more difficult. They had spread out, making it hard for the Horizon to target both at once. They're learning our tricks, Miller said. We need something new. Lisa called from her station. Captain, the colony is reporting that the Scourge ground forces are retreating to their ships. They didn't expect resistance in orbit. Miller nodded. That was good news, but they still had two enemy ships to deal with. Reed, what else do we have? Reed thought for a moment. The mineral detection system. It's designed to find specific elements in asteroids by analyzing their composition. How does that help us fight ships? Miller asked. Every ship has weak points, Reed explained, places where the hull is thinner or where important systems are located. If I recalibrate the sensors, we could find those weak points. Do it, Miller ordered. Reed bent over his console, fingers flying across the controls. Got it. Sending the data to the weapons station now. Mark, who is handling the weapons, nodded. I see it. There's a spot near their engines that looks vulnerable. Target that spot with the mining lasers, Miller ordered. The Horizon's lasers fired, striking the exact point Mark identified. The effect was immediate. The Scourge ship's engine sputtered and died, leaving it drifting in space. Direct hit, Mark shouted. They're disabled. Miller allowed himself a small smile. One more to go. Same trick? Reed shook his head. They're changing their shield frequency. The sensors can't get a good reading anymore. The last Scourge ship was circling the Horizon, firing at different points, testing their defenses. What about the ore separator? Miller asked. Suddenly, Reed looked confused. The what? The magnetic ore separator. It pulls metal-rich ore away from worthless rock, right? Could we use it against their ship? Reed's eyes widened. That's actually brilliant, Captain. It's not designed for that, but the principles are the same. Their hull is metal. If we turn up the power high enough, do it, Miller ordered. Reed hurried to adjust the controls. This will drain a lot of power from our systems. Shields will weaken. It's a risk we have to take, Miller said. On my mark. The Scourge ship came around for another attack run. Now, Miller shouted. Reed activated the ore separator at maximum power. A powerful magnetic field shot out from the Horizon, invisible but incredibly strong. The effect on the Scourge ship was dramatic. It shuddered in space as the magnetic forces pulled on its hull, bending metal and disrupting its systems. It's working, Reed called out. Their weapons are offline. The Scourge ship tried to move away, but the magnetic field held it in place. They're hailing us, Lisa said. Put them through. Miller ordered. The alien commander appeared on screen again, but now his spiky face showed fear instead of confidence. Stop, the alien demanded. You are destroying our ship. Withdraw your forces from New Haven. Miller said firmly. Leave this system and never return. The alien hesitated, then nodded. We agree. Release our ships. Miller looked at Reed, who shrugged. We can't hold them forever anyway. The system will burn out soon. Very well, Miller said to the alien. We'll release you. But remember this. Human colonies are not easy targets, even without warships. The alien's yellow eyes narrowed. The council will hear of this, human. You have broken their rules. We defended innocent lives, Miller replied. That's all that matters. After the Scourge ships limped away, the Horizon moved into position above New Haven's main settlement. Miller led a team down to the surface to check on the colonists. The settlement had some damage from the Scourge attack, but most buildings were still standing. The colonists had fought bravely, using farm equipment and mining tools as weapons, just like us, Reed said with a smile, making do with what we have. The colony leader, a tall woman named Anna, greeted them warmly. Captain Miller, you saved our lives. The Scourge would have killed us all if you hadn't come. We did what anyone would do. Miller said. Anna shook her head. No, you did what humans do, you found a way to win, even when the rules were against you. The colonists provided a meal for the Horizon's crew, sharing what food they had in thanks. As they ate, Miller noticed Reed deep in thought. What's on your mind, Tom? He asked. Reed looked up. I was just thinking we could improve the ship even more. The ore separator worked better than I expected. With some adjustments, we could make it a real weapon. And the mineral scanners could be fine-tuned to detect ship weaknesses even better. Mark added. Miller nodded slowly. Do it. We don't know when we might face the Scourge again. Over the next few days, the Horizon's crew helped the colonists repair their settlement. At the same time, Reed and his engineers worked to improve their ship's mining equipment even further. The colonists are calling us heroes, Lisa told Miller as they prepared to leave New Haven. Word is spreading to other human settlements. Miller frowned. That means word will reach the council soon. Are you worried? Lisa asked, about breaking their rules. No, Miller said, about what comes next. Yes. As the Horizon lifted off from New Haven, a message came in from Earth. Miller read it in his office, his face growing more serious with each word. The message was clear. The council had learned about the battle at New Haven. They were sending representatives to investigate. Miller and his crew would face questions about their actions. But there was more. Reports indicated that the Scourge, embarrassed by their defeat, were planning a much larger attack on the frontier worlds. The Council's defense fleet was occupied with a diplomatic crisis in another sector and couldn't respond in time. Earth was asking all human ships in the region to prepare for possible conflict, regardless of Council restrictions. Miller set the message down and looked out his viewport at the stars. They had won one battle by being clever and adapting mining equipment for defense, but a larger fight was coming. The question was, would the Council punish humans for defending themselves, or would they recognize that sometimes rules needed to bend in the face of danger? Miller suspected he would find out very soon. The Horizon docked at Space Station Alpha, a large Council facility near Earth. Captain Miller and his senior crew stood at attention as 3 Council representatives boarded their ship. Miller recognized the tall blue-skinned Trell, who had first told humans they couldn't build warships. With him was Inspector Dax, who had checked the Horizon before its launch. The third was new to Miller, a small purple alien with 6 arms and large eyes. Captain Miller, Trell said coldly, you have violated Council restrictions. Miller kept his face calm. We responded to a distress call. We saved lives using systems that were clearly designed for combat. Inspector Dax added, systems I was assured were for mining only. The purple alien stepped forward. I am Vex, Council Security Analyst. I wish to see these mining systems that defeated 3 Scourge vessels. Miller looked at Reed, who nodded. Engineer Reed will show you everything. As Reed led Vex away, Trell turned to Miller. The Council is very displeased. You were explicitly forbidden from engaging in combat. And what about the Scourge? Miller asked. They attacked a human colony. Where was the Council fleet? Trell shifted uncomfortably. There was a diplomatic situation in the Century sector. Our ships were needed there. So you left our colonies defenseless? Miller said sharply. The Scourge were not considered a major threat. Trell replied, tell that to the people of New Haven. Miller said they would have been killed if we hadn't helped. Before Trell could respond, a message came through on the station's communication system. All 3 aliens listened, their faces growing concerned. The Scourge have launched attacks on 5 frontier worlds, Trell said, turning back to Miller. including 3 non-human colonies. Miller nodded, he had expected this. The Scourge were angry after being defeated by the Horizon, now they were trying to prove their strength. Our fleet cannot reach all these worlds in time, Trell admitted quietly. We can help, Miller offered, the Horizon can defend at least one of those worlds. One ship cannot change the outcome, Dax said. Miller smiled slightly, we're not the only human ship with mining equipment. Meanwhile, Reed was showing Vex the Horizon systems. The alien security analyst examined everything with great interest, especially the mining lasers and the ore separator. Fascinating, Vex said, looking at the lasers, these are genuinely designed for cutting asteroids. Of course, Reed said, that's their purpose. Yet with minor adjustments, they become effective weapons. Vex noted. Reed shrugged, any tool can be used in different ways. Vex moved to the ore separator. This magnetic system, you used it to disable a Scourge ship? We increased the power to create a stronger magnetic field, Reed explained, it disrupted their systems and stressed their hull. But it was built as mining equipment? Yes, it separates metal-rich ore from worthless rock, standard mining technology. Vex was quiet for a moment. His large eyes blinking rapidly, you humans are most interesting. You found a way around our restrictions without actually breaking them. Reed wasn't sure how to respond. Tell me, Engineer Reed, Vex continued, could other human ships use these same adaptations? Any mining vessel with similar equipment could do what we did, Reed said cautiously. Vex made a sound that might have been a laugh. I think I understand why some council members were so concerned about humans. In the station's conference room, the council representatives met with Miller and several officials from Earth. The mood was tense. We have reviewed the situation, Trell announced. The Horizon did use systems that could be classified as weapons. General Banks, who had traveled from Earth for this meeting, stood up angrily, they used mining equipment to defend a colony that you failed to protect. However, Trell continued, ignoring the interruption, security analyst Vex has made an interesting point. Vex stepped forward, the humans have found what we might call a creative interpretation of our restrictions. Technically, they have not built warships, they have simply optimized civilian vessels. Inspector Dax didn't look happy, this is a dangerous precedent. Other species might follow their example. Perhaps, Vex agreed, but right now we face a more immediate problem, the Scourge attacks are spreading, and our fleet cannot respond to all of them. Everyone in the room knew what Vex was suggesting. Trell looked uncomfortable but finally nodded, very well. Your ships may assist in the defense of the frontier, but this matter is not closed. The Council will need to discuss the spirit of our restrictions versus the letter of our law. As the meeting ended, Vex approached Miller in the corridor, Captain Miller, I must say I find human ingenuity impressive. The alien said quietly, you have accomplished something remarkable. We just did what was necessary. Miller replied, no. Vex said, you did more than that, you showed the Council something important about rules and restrictions. What's that? Miller asked. That they often breed innovation rather than compliance. Vex's large eyes seemed to smile, some of us on the Council have argued that humans should not be restricted so heavily. Your actions may help change minds. Before Miller could respond, alarms sounded throughout the Stat Iona communication officer ran up to them, Sir, reports coming in, the Scourge fleet has been spotted near the Alterera system, they have over 30 ships. Miller turned to Vex, that's more than we can handle, even with 20 ships. Vex nodded, our fleet is still 3 days away. Miller thought quickly, we need to coordinate our response. If we can't match their numbers, we'll have to outsmart them. What do you have in mind? Vex asked. A strategy that plays to our strengths, Miller said, the Scourge expect defenseless worlds. Let's show them that humans don't need warships to win a war. As Miller rushed back to the Horizon, he knew the real battle was just beginning. They had won at New Haven through surprise and creativity, but the Scourge would be ready for them now. It would take more than modified mining equipment to win this fight, it would take everything humans were good at, adaptation. Innovation, and thinking differently about problems than other species did. The Council might not understand humans yet, but the Scourge were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating them. The space near Alter Colony buzzed with activity as 20 human ships moved into defensive positions. The Horizon led the fleet, with Captain Miller coordinating from its bridge. All ships reporting ready, Lisa said from her communication station. Miller nodded, put me through to all captains. When the connection was made, Miller stood tall, this is Captain Miller. The Scourge fleet will arrive in 6 hours. They have more ships than us, but we have something better, human creativity. Each of your vessels has the same mining equipment as the Horizon, you know how to use it. Remember, we're not fighting just for human colonies, 3 non-human worlds are counting on us too. The captains' faces on the screen showed determination, they were all experienced miners and explorers, not soldiers, but they were ready to defend the frontier. Engineer Reed has developed new tactics based on what we learned at New Haven, Miller continued. Study them carefully. We'll form 5 groups of 4 ships each, stay together, protect each other, and remember, we may not have warships, but we are still humans. Good luck. As the captain signed off, Vex entered the bridge. The Council security analyst had asked to join the Horizon for the battle. Your plan is bold, Captain, Vex said, but the Scourge have numbers on their side. Numbers aren't everything, Miller replied, they're used to attacking defenseless colonies. They've never faced an organized response from civilian ships. Vex nodded, holding a data pad, the new modifications are ready for all ships. The mineral scanners are now 50% more accurate at finding ship weak points, the ore separators can create targeted magnetic fields, and the mining lasers, well, they're still technically mining lasers, but much more efficient. Miller smiled, good work. Now we wait. 5 hours later, the first Scourge ships appeared on their sensors. The human fleet held position protecting the colony below. 35 Scourge vessels detected, Mark reported from his station, they're spreading out for an attack run, they're trying to surround us. Miller noted, just as we expected. Signal all ships, hold formation until my command. The Scourge ships drew closer, their weapons powering up. Then suddenly they launched their attack, energy beams shot toward the human fleet from all directions. Now, Miller ordered, all ships.